Hello and welcome to another exciting possible episode of What a Week That Was, where we look back and chat about the news of the last week. It's really exciting and I recommend it highly, except when I'm doing it live, because when I'm doing it live it's a nightmare. Anyway, we're on. So fingers crossed we can get going this time, fourth time lucky. So what's been in the news this week? Well, we started off with this. Which was in, I think, Brazil, or it could have been Mexico. But anyway, they're building a big sewer system or something similar. They've got this massive big crater that they built, and the Earth decides to join in and just collapse a road around it. Thankfully, no one was injured, or worse. But yeah, and when engineering goes wrong, it goes very wrong, doesn't it? Also, exciting news today for many people. Not necessarily me, but it's been revealed, unsurprisingly, that there is going to be a new Grand Theft Auto game, which is oddly surprising due to the fact that it's one of the best-selling games, best money-making games of all time. Why is it not working? Let's try again. This has definitely turned into GB News. It will get better. Put the thing up. Open and click on OK. There we go. There we go. So yeah, after years of rumours and reports, Rockstar has confirmed it is working on a new Grand Theft Auto game, and it's well underway. Well, it should have been. When did they bring out Grand Theft Auto 1? It was like about 15 billion years ago, and they've made Grand Theft Auto 5. Sorry, they've made loads and loads of money from it. What with the online thing. To be fair, I have a big issue with Rockstar games, and that is the campaigns. I hate them. I hate the campaigns in Rockstar games. They just go on and 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 on. A bit like me now. But I did like Grand Theft Auto 5, but only for the online, where you could basically play out with your friends, but with rocket launchers, cars, supercars, aeroplanes, helicopters, go up mountains, go down tunnels, go in the sea, do loads of stuff. And it was great fun for a while. And then we all kind of grew up and kind of fell out with it. But it was a good game. So hopefully Grand Theft Auto 6, or whatever it's going to be called, will be online elements. We'll have an online element and not necessarily the campaign. I really don't like the campaigns of Grand Theft Auto games or any Rockstar games. It's just, why use one word when you can use 15,000 words? It's like, we've paid for these people to voice act for us. We're going to make sure we get our money's worth. It's like one of them bloody adverts for McDonald's, isn't it? So rather than saying, yeah, that's right, it's the opposite of a politician. They don't just say why it's right. They just go on and on and on about how it could have been wrong, but it's not wrong, so it's right now. And blah blah blah. What's that? It's sending me. Not played GTA 5. I've played all of them except that one. I can't get enough of the driving physics of GTA 4. Really? Grow up. I might grow up one day. Yeah. See, I thought the physics of GTA 4 was shocking. It felt like, to me, that the car, I'm looking for a car. Where's my escort going? Oh, it's over there. Oh, God, no. I'm going to have to use Lewis. Things go from bad to worse. Right, so there's your car. And I always felt with Grand Theft Auto 4 that when you were driving it, it felt like the car was steering with the middle. So like, that's your steering there, and it just pivots around that, and I couldn't cope with it. But with Grand Theft Auto 5, it did feel like the steering was at the front, and you could get the back of the car out, swing around corners, and all that kind of stuff, which is why I like Grand Theft Auto 5. Although, because I don't like the campaign, I never met Trevor. Unbelievable. Apparently, that's one of the first things you do. The only thing I did do was I did the race so that I could go online, and I've done it on the 360, the Xbox One, and the PS4, because they're the consoles that I've played the game on, and I've had to do that race all the time. But other than that, I've not done anything. It's alright. Everything's hunky-dory and crap today, so don't worry about it. You've not missed anything. I've only been on for 4 minutes, so you're still nice and early. Although, you know, tardiness. Anyway, news proper. Oh dear. We had the 50 Shades of Grey report come out, but we only got 12 pages of it, not the 50 pages we were promised. And it caused a bit of a kerfuffle at the beginning of the week, but not too much. So Boris kind of dodged that one, and he was like, yeah, I've dodged that one, that's alright, isn't it? But he's less happy now. And that's because he's lost a lot of his backroom staff, i.e. people at number 10. And I'll be honest with you, I think that's a good idea. Because they're the ones who've messing up the country. They're the ones giving advice. It's not always the politicians who make the decisions, you know. It's sometimes the people in the back. So if you don't know what I'm on about, watch a programme called Yes Minster, or Yes Prime Minister, comedy from the 80s. But it's true to life now. And if you've been watching my videos that I've been doing on Wigan Council with Wigan Watch and my various vlogs, you'll know also that it's local government is exactly the same. It's not necessarily the people we elect who run things, it's people in the background. And they've screwed everything over. So I'm pretty sure that getting rid of them and getting some new people in might save Boris. I probably won't, to be fair. But there you go. What else has been going on then? Well, I don't know about you, but I like being warm. But now, it's going to cost a fortune to be warm, because gas and electric have gone up by 54%, or rather they will do, on the 1st of April. So we found out this week. Basically, most household bills will go up by over 600 quid. I'm on a pay card thing, so mine's going to go up by more. Now, the government have said they're going to give everyone a £200 loan, which will be paid back over the next 2 years on your electricity bill or whatever. So they're going to knock that off or pay it. I don't know how it works. But you're also going to get £150 grants as well. Plus elderly people and vulnerable people will still get their winter allowance and all that kind of goodings. But it's still not enough for the 600 quid. So people are going to suffer and people are going to go cold and people will probably die from this. It's a worldwide thing. It's not a government thing. But there are things the government can do. For example, they could scrap the 5% VAT on energy, which doesn't sound a lot, but it makes a difference. Anything will make a difference at the moment. And obviously the £10 universal credit that they gave during the pandemic, because it was an emergency, I think this classes as an emergency as well. So maybe put that back on. Again, that would work out at £520 a year per person. So there's 2 people claiming it in a house. Then that would work out at £1,000, which more than covers it over the year. And, well, yeah, fingers crossed, though someone will see sense. But yeah, it's not good, particularly when you take into account as well, this is so serious today, that the mortgage rate is going up, or the interest rate even, has gone up from, well, pretty much 0 forever, and it's now 0.5%, which is a big rise, although I remember when it was almost in double figures. When I first got my mortgage, it was awful. Paying loads and loads of money, and now my interest on my mortgage is £30 odd, so it's probably gone up to about £35. Just the interest, obviously, not the mortgage itself. But if you've got a big mortgage, that is a big change. If you've got savings, however, you've been missing out on savings. But still, 0.5% is not a lot. You're better off investing it in something. Maybe set up a PPE company and sell stuff to the government that they'll give you money for, and then bin at a later date. Well, that's a story for another day. Talking of PPE though, just imagine if the Daily Mail or someone had found out that the government were hoarding millions and millions and millions and millions of pounds worth of PPE stuff in 2018. There'd have been a hell of a furore about it. Why have we got all this stuff? We don't need all this stuff. That money could be spent on nurses, it could be spent on this, it could be spent on that, it could be spent on others. And then when the pandemic comes along, the same people who are saying, well, why haven't we got any PPE in storage? You know, you can't win with some people. Anyway, I digress. I wasn't even going to talk about that, but there you go. I just get off on level. Don't forget, if you want to join in the conversation, feel free to join the chat. Read your name out, keep it clean. Well, you have to keep it clean anyway, because otherwise, well... Oh, going back to energy. So, a few energy companies have gone bust. A lot of energy companies have gone bust to supply the cheaper energy to the British public, mainly because they can't afford to sell they're selling it that cheap that the stuff to buy costs more than what they're selling it for, but they've signed a contract with people, so they end up losing money and then they go bust. But masks are gone now. No need to produce them. NHS doesn't even want to wear them. Was in there the other week, and they was complaining about wearing masks. Masks, yeah. But there, don't even get me started on masks. If you come to my shop, you know that masks are a thing, and I will keep them. I wonder why Boris doesn't throw a leaving party for those people that resigned. Very good. Very good, I like that one. Not a lot, but I do like it. Anyway, back to the energy companies. So all these energy companies have gone bust. Yet one energy company has made record profits. Everyone's favourite energy company, Shell, have made billions and billions of pounds of profit. Why? Because the price of petrol's gone up. So we're all struggling filling our cars up. Instead of costing 40 quid, it's costing over 60 quid now to fill the car up. And these guys are just raking it in. It's insane. Absolutely insane that they get away with it. But again, it's a worldwide thing. It's not just England or Great Britain or even Europe. It's a worldwide issue, as is the supply chains. I follow different news channels from around the world just to get a different idea what's going on in Britain, rather than the alleged, what's the word I'm looking for here? Manipulation of the truth by British media. Australia and various other countries just say it as it is. And they all have got going on as well supply issues. They haven't got enough articulated lorry drivers. There are issues getting stuff on shelves. There's all this kind of stuff. It's not just England or Britain that's got that problem. It's the whole world seems to got that problem. I know you've been writing. Only posh people use Shell. I must admit, I can't remember last time I bought Shell petrol. Red diesel is the future. Absolute disgrace. Them at Boar's Head roundabout. Terrible. I've got Tesco's now. Save the pennies for my energy bill. Exactly. That's where I go. I go to Tesco. Or Sainsbury's sometimes is a bit cheaper. But if you go to a Sainsbury's petrol station, it's like you've gone back to the 1980s. It's like they haven't upgraded anything. It's bizarre. And then when you go inside and start using the self-scan, and you look up, there's a picture of you on a tablet just staring at you, and you're like, whoa! And I'm not over keen on that either, but that's, again, for another day. It's funny, apparently they are tracking us, and I don't even have a driving licence. We use Shell, better petrol, get longer for your journey, but I'm not posh. No, And they are pushing electric cars. Yeah, well, you all know what my opinions of electric cars are. If you're new here and you don't know what my opinion of electric cars is, basically a complete waste of time. Without going into the full thing of it, batteries need a lot of precious metals to make them. And these batteries are massive in cars. They're not tiny batteries, they're huge batteries. So you need all the cadmium and the nickel and all that kind of stuff. And where does that come from? It comes from underground. You have to mine it out of the earth. But it's not like right next to the factories where they make the cars or make the batteries. It's all over the world. So then you have to ship it in massive ships or whatever from there to somewhere else, transport it to the factory to make the batteries. When the batteries are dead, so say 10, 15 years time when you have to replace the batteries, where do the batteries go? We've now got a problem where all these massive batteries that we can't get rid of. You're not even supposed to put a AA battery in your black bin. If your black bin is your general waste bin. It's against the law. You can get fined for it. Everyone does it, I know. But you're not supposed to do it. So where are we going to put all these massive car batteries when we get them back? And then you need to charge your cars up. So how do you charge your cars up? You have charging points, either at your house or in multi-storey car parks or in car parks, just generally. Supermarkets generally have got about 4 now, most supermarkets. But that involves running cable. You have to run cable and thick cable because it's very quick charging stuff, so it's high power electricity. You then have to build the hub. You then have to put the cables from the hubs to the cars. All of the cables are copper. Where does copper come from? And they're all surrounded by at least 1 layer of plastic. We know it's 2 or 3, but we'll just say 1 layer of plastic. That's not environmentally friendly either. So the environmental friendliness of electric cars is absolute tosh. It's irrelevant. It's completely useless. We should be going down the hydrogen route. Petrol stations can already, with modification, cope with liquid hydrogen. They're already coping with a very volatile substance if you think about it, so that could be modified. Tell car manufacturers that they can't sell any cars in the world after say 2035 that run on anything other than hydrogen. Aeroplanes from 2035, no aeroplanes can be sold or fly if they're not using hydrogen engines. Because, let's be honest, you can't have battery-powered jumbo jets or Boeing 737s. You imagine the size of a battery for one of them things. Imagine the weight. You need bigger batteries. Duh! So batteries, electricity, absolute waste of time. We need to go down the hydrogen route, or if we can get little nuclear reactors, that'd be even better, but I don't fancy having millions of little nuclear reactors all over the world. Imagine a crash. So, where are we up? Blah, blah, blah. Lewis Odom, stop supporting Tesco. Shop at your local. Tesco is my local. Bitcoin. Shoot them into space on Elon's rockets. Do you believe someone who's fast could beat someone who's fast at Wharton? What? Yeah, electric cars is a Boris idea. Enough said. It's not just Boris, it's people all over the world who are on about electric cars. Gonna watch a video of Steve Smith absolutely flying that minute. Yeah, it did as well sometimes. And it went up the wall. I got some good pictures of that back in the day. Everyone else, I have no idea what we're talking about, so we'll move on. I don't know whether you're aware or not, but there's been a sporting event that started. It's the Olympic Games. It's the Winter Olympic Games, and they're in China. China! Oh, everyone's favourite country. China, known for its human rights abuses. China, known for its threatening behaviour to other countries. China, known for building islands in the middle of international waters and then claiming them as their own. I mean, how the hell you build an island in the first place is beyond me. But there are lots of people who disappear from China, aren't there? But you'll never find the bodies. Nah, no, can't be that. China, who is funding lots of buildings around the world, including in very own Wigan. Again, if you go to the Wigan Watch playlist, you'll see my opinions on the money coming from China. I don't have an issue with money coming from somewhere, but I want it to come from somewhere where I know it's actually going to get through, because I'm thinking the Winter Olympics have started. We've not sent diplomats to China, to Beijing, and a lot of the thing about Olympics is nothing to do with the athletes. It's to do with the behind the scene things. So all the diplomats come over, so you get like foreign secretaries and businessmen and all that kind of stuff, and you take them and show them all your factories, and they watch a bit of sport, and then you take them for meals, and you kind of, you know, enhance your country's reputation, and that's where the money's made. It's not made from selling tickets. To be fair, you can't even buy a ticket because of COVID is rampant again in China, so they're only allowing people in who work for the government, be it actual government workers or people who work for companies owned by the government. So basically anyone who's got a job probably in China. But then you're only getting selected if the people who are letting you in know who you are, and you have to go through tests and things like that. So it's a very bizarre place. And Boris is too soft on China. China's a development Wigan, yeah. So the issue we've got is, when we fall out with countries, we do sanctions. Now, sanctions basically involve in, you know, you can't do this with your money. And we send diplomats. We've not sent diplomats to China. They're going to get the Winter Olympics out of the way because they want the athletes to be there. So they're not going to do anything until the Winter Olympics is over, and the Paralympics as well. And then after that, they'll probably start sending back our diplomats from Beijing and other provinces back to England, back to America, back to wherever they've come from. And then they will be reciprocated by people being sent back to China from those various countries as well. Everyone will fall out with each other, and eventually you'll probably end up with sanctions, which may include freezing assets. Now, if you freeze assets, that means any money that's come from China cannot be used in any country that's frozen the assets, be it money that's already in a bank account in the country, so say, for example, Wigan Council's bank account, that cannot be spent because it's come from China, and it can be traced. So if we've got half a building that's been knocked down and we get sanctions and we freeze assets, we are knackered. Then you got, of course, the other slight problem we've got with one of China's mates. In fact, Putin was the only person... Where's he gone? Oh, there it is. Putin was the only person, foreign diplomat, who seemed to be there. You know, Putin, the guy who was about to invade Ukraine. So if Russia invades Ukraine, we will be at war with Russia, along with all our allies. We will sanction Russia, we will freeze money from Russia, blah de blah de blah. China will join in, So then we'll probably start doing the same thing with China. So the problem you've got then is, even though Russia's invaded Ukraine, we still have no money coming from China because of them supporting Russia. This is all hypothetical, I agree, but it's a strong possibility. Then you've got Taiwan. Now, Taiwan is being threatened by China. Now, if China invades Taiwan, that means that we will be at war, because we support Taiwan, with China. I say war. And what will happen then is we will put sanctions on them, and we will freeze assets, and again the money stops. So anyone who's doing any interaction with China, with Chinese money, needs to be very careful. And it doesn't take long to find out that a lot of companies in China are going bust left, right and centre, particularly big development companies. So, yeah, proceed with caution. Oh, the Russians are in. Boris should become a diplomat, you elder. Are they not getting the money up front? Well, it doesn't matter if they get the money up front. As we found out, as I noticed when we fell out with Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, basically when we did that illegal war, we froze assets, and that included money that was in English bank accounts which had come from those countries. So, say Iraq had a bank account in Barclays Bank. Obviously they don't, but say they had an account in Barclays Bank, and then that account had paid me £1 billion for something I was doing, some major thing I was going to do for them. There'd be a paper trail, or a rather electrical trail, back to Afghanistan. So that money I had in my bank account would also be frozen. So it doesn't matter where the money is. If they can trace it back to where it's come from, it's frozen. And that's it. And if you spend that money, and you know it's been frozen, then you're ending up in prison. Because you've broke the law of Britain by spending the money that you shouldn't spend. And it's quite complicated, and it can be quite vicious as well. Taiwan is toast, let's be honest. Lost their place now. Sleepy Joe. Yeah, Joe Biden. I always thought George W. Bush was... anyway. Yeah, bring back... no, let's not bring back the Trump. No, let's not. Definitely not. Let's definitely not. Back to more local things that are going on. We'll go to this one, actually. It's ironic, isn't it, that I've been using Bury Market as an example of how a town centre should be run. And they've won an award today of the best market in the country. And I'm like, it's not rocket science. Excuse the pun. It's not rocket science. What you do is you give what people want, you charge reasonable rents, more people come, more stallholders come. There was guys interviewed on the news there, had been there 50 years. Massive open air market. What do Wigan do? They crush their Victorian classic market, build a new one right at the edge of the town, overcharge people rent for it, and then tell them they're knocking it down again within 35 years for a new market that they're building, which they're not telling the market traders what the rent is. It's absolutely amazing. Trump was better than Pioneers. He didn't take any poo from Russia. That's true. Or China. Yeah. There's a lot of bots around, isn't there? But yeah, Bury Market. And what they do is they focus on what makes Bury popular. And that is black puddings. And the market. And that's it. But they've built a whole community around there. It's not just the market and the black puddings that's doing well. Most of Bury, it seems to be doing okay. Okay, there are areas that are a bit desolate, but you're always going to get that in towns because Bury is actually quite a big town centre. They've got the Rock as well. Again, if you look at my Wigan Watch videos, I do actually do a bit in Bury, but I also went round Bury last year to do a Let's Walk Around video, so you can have a look at it again. Definitely Korea. Yeah, Trump did look after Korea, it's got to be said. He sorted them out, he slapped them down a bit, didn't he? And now look at them, they're getting away with it. Murder. Mind you, they were getting away with murder then as well, I suppose. And then, this chestnut Clean Air Greater Manchester. Now, that was supposed to come in at the end of May. It's now been delayed for at least 6 months. And the idea was, by law, we had to get our emissions down in Greater Manchester by 2024, but now it's moved to 2026. It's far too complicated to get into because I don't actually understand it all the way. But basically, if you've got an old van, an old taxi, and an old lorry, every day you use it within Greater Manchester, because there are cameras everywhere, you pay a minimum of £10 a day to a maximum of £60-65 a day to use that vehicle for your job, or if it's what you use to get around in, you get charged for it then as well. So if you go in car racing, for example, and you're towing a vehicle, you will get that as well. So the idea is good. We want to improve the air for everyone. Obviously, there are people suffering from the air that we breathe, and particularly people with asthma, people who live in city centres and things like that. So yeah, something's got to be done. But I'm not exactly sure that this was a fair way of doing it. Anyway, it's been scrapped. Well, it's not been scrapped. It will come back, but it will come back in a completely different way. So says Andy Burnham. Anyway, again, we wait to see. There's loads of things that destroy town centres. I think the most ridiculous concept ever to destroy a town centre is to knock it down and build flats. It's not just Wigan though. Bolton's getting it as well. I intend to go to Bolton and have a wander around Bolton and see what people at Bolton think about that. But again, that's for another Wigan watch for another day. So that's all my basic highlights of what I was wanted to talk about. So if you've just joined us, we'll have a quick recap. Boris and his resignations. Gas and electric going up to just under £7 a year. Interest rates going up. Shell making profit from energy prices going up. Highest in 8 years apparently. The Winter Olympics, China with their human rights. Their woman who was in the... that was a bit weird, isn't it? You know Houses of Parliament? Well, obviously you do. And there was that Chinese woman, wasn't there, who appeared in the Houses of Parliament. And apparently she was doing some dodgy dealings with all MPs from all parties. Whatever happened about that? That was a big news story for about an hour and then just disappeared. So we're okay with that, are we? Yeah. How are the kids going to get home from the town on the weekend? Be no taxis left? Yeah, that's true. They aren't knocking Wigan down to build flats. I think the relevant is a good idea. It's quite a good idea. They are building flats. They're building 400 flats in Wigan on the site of basically where Poundland is down to Morrison's, where the market is up to the Royal Arcade and the back of B&M's. They're all flats. Then there's a hotel, and then there is the cinema, the bowling alley, and the indoor golf course, all from Chinese money, 190 million, and no compensation, no help for any of the retailers. So a lot of companies have actually, the big companies have just walked out of Wigan. They've shut the shops and said we're never coming back to Wigan again. So it's killing the town centre. Well, why would people come to Wigan? And desirable people? No, they're designed for students or used for accommodation for people waiting asylum status. That is what is happening. I don't understand why oil has got anything to do with the gas prices, but the gas prices have gone up, I think mainly because there are other countries now that have started using gas that didn't use gas before, and they're only producing the same amount of gas. So therefore, because demand's gone up, that means the price goes up. And like I say, it's a worldwide thing. It's not just a UK thing. That is all over the world. The gas price has gone up everywhere. So everyone's having the same issue with the price of gas. No, students in Wigan is not good, because that'll put the old people off, and the old people are the ones. All the bit left in Wigan is Standish Gate and the Grand Arcade. shopping centre. It's going to be the smallest shopping centre for a town the size of Wigan, probably anywhere in the country. We're already losing shops from Makinson's Arcade because they can see football going down, and we're also losing Next from the Grand Arcade, plus possibly at least 2 other shops that I know of could be leaving the Grand Arcade as well. It should be on the Press Preview Sky News. Yeah, no. Like, share, subscribe and share. Yeah, something like that. But the old people will be dead soon. Yeah, but then other people become old people. Unless you're going to do that thing where you kill everyone at the age of 20. Bit like Logan's Run. Do you live in Wigan? Asking for a friend. Anyway. So what we're talking about Wigan, aren't we? Have I got a Wigan picture? No. We'll go for the Earth picture then. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. The problem you've got is, government-wise, you've got the Tories who've got a very weak opposition. So basically they're getting away with stuff they shouldn't be getting away with. You've also got, in Wigan, you've got a Labour cabinet and a Labour council, a strong Labour council, with opposition that has got no power because there's too many Labour people there. So you've got 75 councillors. Of them, over 50 are probably Labour. It might be slightly less, might be slightly more, but let's say 50. So you've got 25 who are not. Actually, it's definitely not that. But anyway, we'll say it is. So Labour vote on something as a block. No one can stop them. But the problem is, it's not just that. You've then got the cabinet, which is made up of a very select number of people. I think there's 9 on the cabinet. You've got the planning committee, which is made up of 14 people. Now, the planning committee is the one that actually voted for the development of the galleries. So there's 14 people on there. 10 of them are Labour and 4 of them are not Labour. So the 10 Labour ones voted for it, and the 4 non-Labour ones voted against it for the reasons that we've already discussed again in Wigan Watch and all that. Which means a majority of 6. So basically 6 people voted for the centre of Wigan to be knocked down and turned into a cinema, a bowling alley, an indoor golf course, 140 flats with 200 parking spaces, a hotel, and the only bit I agree with, which is the market moving to a more central location. I've never understood why the market... I now understand why the market's on the outskirts of the town, but it's moving back to the centre of the town where it should be, which will be in Market Place. So you come out of the bus station and there's the market in front of you. So that kind of works, but everything else, I'm not with it. Yeah, but the development isn't going to turn it into a prosperous town. It's going to turn it into a housing estate. And who's going to use a cinema and a bowling alley where you have to pay for parking, which is nowhere near the actual bowling alley and the cinema, when within half a mile there's a cinema and a bowling alley already, which are not doing that well, because people don't go to the cinema and go bowling as much as they used to, but with free parking. I know if I've got grandkids, I would not take my grandkids to a cinema in Wigan Town Centre where we come out at night in the town centre and have to walk my grandkids to the car wherever I've parked it in the town centre. That's not going to happen. If I'm taking them to the cinema, I'd take them to either the Empire Cinema at Robin Park, or I'd take them to a cinema somewhere else, like the one that people go to in Horwich. So, because the parking's there, it's literally outside. It's safer. And I don't have to pay for the parking, because you have to pay for parking in town centres, which again is another issue that I don't agree with. Rebuild Wigan Casino in the new development. Take them in the morning then. But you still got the problem of the car park not being anywhere near it. The whole point of going to a cinema is to have a fun watching a movie, and then going back to the car and going home, or going to a restaurant or whatever. Where are the restaurants in Wigan? There aren't any. You've got Nando's, you've got McDonald's, you've got Burger King, you've got KFC right on the doorstep of the cinema in Wigan. Why would you come to one in the centre of Wigan? Plus, how many people can afford to go to the cinema? We've already discussed tonight. Energy rates going up, petrol going up, interest rates going up, money not going up, so people are going to be poorer. It costs a lot of money to go to the cinema. A lot of people now stream stuff. They've got Disney Plus, they've got Netflix, they've got Amazon Prime, they've got Apple Plus, they've got Discovery Plus, they've got all these different streaming channels now. Why would you pay 50 quid to take your family of 4 to the cinema, buy their expensive popcorn, pay for the parking, get coughed on by God knows how many people, get interrupted by people standing up in front of you, to watch a film once when you can pay 6 quid, 7 quid, 8 quid, 10 quid, whatever, watch it 100 times? We've moved on. Cinemas are not going to be a thing for too long. We don't need more cinemas. What I would do in that space, and they're building the cinemas on Standish Gate, so where the two jewellers are on Standish Gate, opposite the old Marks and Spencer shop, that's where the entrance of the cinema is going to be. What I would do is, I would knock that down, because I think the 2 ramp thing is a bit, I don't know, I never got it. So I knock that down, and what I build there is, I would replicate the buildings on Standish Gate. So I'd have shops at the bottom, open, shops going down, and then on the first floor, you'd have the black and white look. So it looks, obviously it's modern, but it would complement the other buildings around it. And then underneath there, you'd have little boutique shops. You'd have maybe micro pubs, restaurants, bistros, that kind of thing, going into a big square. Things need to change. Yeah, no one's disagreeing with you, but what they're coming up with is not a plan, and the money isn't coming from somewhere secure enough to get it done. And we could end up with just a massive hole and a white elephant. In 10 years' time, we've got a cinema that no one's using. Remember, well, you probably don't remember, but there was a cinema in the centre of Wigan that was doing all right. And then the one in Robin Park opened, and within a couple of years, if not less, the cinema shut down, become a bingo hall, and is now where the Grand Arcade is, because they knocked it down to build the Grand Arcade. And you're right about Wigan Casino as well. Maybe earn more money to pay for the car park. What are you on? Are you someone I know? Are you just winding us up? Are you on about the shops I'm on about? The little boutique things going down the alleyway? Because they're small, no business rates. That makes them attractive. And because they're small, the rents ain't going to be too much. But you build this little community going into the square. And where the square is where we have the celebrations. I mean, if you've ever been to a Wigan light turn on, Christmas light turn on, when we've won a cup, Pride, any kind of events that goes on, they cram it into Marketplace, which is at the top where the marble used to be, and it's just tight spaces, and it's just horrible. If we had a nice square where the square is currently at the bottom of Makinson's Arcade, but stretch it all the way to the back of B&M's and stretch it all the way to Market Street, so we've got this nice big square, we could have loads of stuff going on there. You could have Christmas markets, you could even possibly have mini fun fairs coming for the toddlers and things like that. You could use that space for the benefit of the whole community. Oh, Matt's here. Oddly, I've never been. It's weird that, isn't it? I wonder why. Anyway, Matt, how are you doing? I've just been talking about your previous boss. I don't know. This is his previous boss. What else were we talking about? I'm trying to see if there's anything we can go back to. if you've just joined us, which you probably haven't, but if you have, we'll be discussing the clean air, berry market being the best market in the world. Well, Great Britain anyway. The Winter Olympics, money from China. Shell making 820 billion pounds profit, highest in 8 years. Interest rates going up, gas and electric going up, and the resignations and other woes of Boris Johnson, of which there are many, including this rather bizarre thing, which I still can't get my head around, the Gray report, as to why we've only got a little bit of it. Because as someone pointed out, it's not like anyone's going to go to prison or anything. If you had a party illegally, you get a spot fine for it. So why she can't just come out and say what went on is beyond me. But Boris is definitely not a happy bunny at the moment. Glad I left the party when I did. That's the point. You were still there, weren't you, when the alleged parties were going on? So has anyone else got anything to comment on? To be fair, we've had, although it's been a bizarre discussion, we've had a proper discussion tonight, which is good. Hello, Jack. I've just had a thought. I'm wondering if a certain person is a very happy person. Are you a happy person? I wasn't allowed to go. Boris banned me from entering the building. If you just joined us, we've been discussing various different things. Boris, gas electric prices going up 54%, interest rates, Shell making profits, Winter Olympics, human rights, etc. Great Manchester Cleaner Air bill, berry market. So feel free to comment on any of those if you want. I can always backtrack and talk about them. We've got another alleyway on fire. Are you happy? Are you a jolly soul? 21st century is miserable. It was time to be happy. It's not that bad. Should have lived in the 1980s. I mean, no, 1970s. That was bad. That was bad. I was only a kid at the time, but yeah, that was bad. That was grim. I mean, things are grim now, but they were really grim back then. All right, good. I'm glad you are jolly. What's your favourite character from Aardman Animations? Here's a weird question. Is it Wallace, Gromit, Sean, the farmer, whose name I don't know, oh, the penguin. I think mine was the penguin with the thing, the hat on. I like that. Pharrell Williams is happy, apparently. I don't know, he's not sung it for a while. He might not be anymore now. He might be miserable like the rest of us. Wallace, I like Wensleydale. Fair enough. Wallace and Boris. There you go. What a combination. Oh, last week we talked about... the week before, we talked about Xbox buying Activision and Blizzard, which means Microsoft basically own Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and anything else that Activision and Blizzard do. Not that I can think of anything at all. But anyway, and they bought it for billions, billions, billions. So what did Sony do this week? Yeah, they buy Bungie, which is the one that Microsoft got rid of 10 years ago. You couldn't write it. You couldn't write it. The chicken from Chicken Run. Gromit was wise beyond his years. Thank you, Jack. Which chicken from Chicken Run? There was a few chickens from Chicken Run. That's why it was called Chicken Run. Wasn't one of them played by I know it's Mel Gibson. I was trying to think of his Braveheart name guy, but I can't think of it. I think it was. Which is a bit weird. Who should we have as our main chicken? Let's get Braveheart in. Wallace equals Boris. Making a new chicken run. What's my favourite film of all time? I had this conversation in the shop today, and so it's like music. What's your favourite music? What's your favourite song right now? And if you ask you in 2 hours' time, and you don't have time to think about it, it'd be a different song. It's the same with movies. I don't watch movies at the moment, so there's no current movies I'm interested in. So there's a film called Airplane. Airplane even, not Aeroplane, Airplane. I quite like that. That was funny. Life of Brian, Monty Python, I like that. Terminator 2, Aliens, they're good. Watch them when they're on. Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger, RoboCop, the original. All from that era. It is a pointless thing. I don't understand why they've done it. It just seems... It's like, oh, we have to do something. Let's buy someone. Who's available? Oh, let's buy Bungie. We can afford that. Because it's like bargain basement. So they've got Destiny, haven't they? It's Bungie Destiny. Surely you can't be serious. Very good. Very good. Very good indeed, actually. I like that. Anyway, it seems to have petered out now. So let's go back to gaming. And the exciting news. After years of rumours and reports, Rockstar has confirmed it's working on a new Grand Theft Auto game. And it's well underway. So we've done the full circle. We've gone all the way from silliness to very serious, to very dark, to very serious, to silliness again. And that's what I like. I mean, being sensible is all well and good, but let's be honest, life's too short. Have a laugh. Expecting some pearl of wisdom any second now from someone. Since whatever Microsoft, Xbox do, Sony tried to do better. Yeah, it didn't really work though, did it? At all. So I'll also give you advance warning because we were talking about GTA and the driving physics, weren't we? Formula 1 is coming back soon, and I will be doing a kind of preview of it, but in my own inevitable way, i.e. telling you the people I don't like and telling you the people I do like. I'm in a silly goofy mood. I'm always in a silly goofy mood. Free's a jolly good fellow. I struggle with wisdom. They probably purchased them not for the company, but for something the company owns or connections it has. I think Destiny. I think it's the only thing really, isn't it? Because if Microsoft have now got Call of Duty, because remember Call of Duty games, if you look at the boxes of games, particularly from a couple of years ago, you'll see that it says, you know, extra maps or whatever, 30 days early on PlayStation exclusive. Well, I don't think Microsoft will be doing that. So, you know, in order to keep their finger on the button, maybe they have to do something with Destiny. I don't really link the two together. And I'm sure Microsoft are not stupid. They will bring games out like they did with Minecraft on the PlayStation because they'd be daft not to. That is cutting your nose off to spite your face. Bloody hell, what time they've got a feeling the Merc will be strong. I don't know. Yeah, Matt. Yeah, that's right. I do want Hamilton to win this year, even if he's not racing. I think we should just fix it so he does. As I said the other week, and I said in the paper as well. If on the last race, if Max Verstappen had been in the lead when the safety car come out, and Lewis Hamilton had had a couple of back markers between him and Max Verstappen in the lead, and the race control got rid of them cars to do a one-lap sprint, and Lewis Hamilton had overtaken Max Verstappen on the last lap, would he have said, you know what, Max, that wasn't really fair, I'll let you have that win and the championship? Of course he wouldn't. So, end of argument. Shut up, Hamilton. Hamilton is a good driver. He's just a spoilt brat. If you watch races and you hear the radio and he's winning by 6 laps or something, he'll still find something to moan at. And people say, oh, that's passion. No, it's not. That's just being a impudent little child, rather than going, yeah, things are going great. It's like, yeah, things are alright, but there's a problem with the tyre. Oh, I'm not liking this. Oh, I don't like that. I'm like, for God's sake, shut up. You're the best driver of your generation. I don't think you'd be the best driver for in the next 2 or 3 years, assuming he carries on. I think George Russell will give him a run for his money. Max Verstappen obviously has done already. And I think if McLaren pulled the finger out, I think them two, Lando Norris and Ricciardo, could do good stuff as well. So I think it could be interesting at the front. However, all these new cars, all out the window. But that's for another day. I think the McLaren will be strong under Zak Brown's leadership. You tell him. I think Prime Vettel would have left him in his review. Yeah, that's the problem though. You always get drivers coming out who are of that era. And Hamilton's been it. Schumacher back in the day. Vettel for a short period, but Schumacher was, it got boring. Schumacher winning everything. And then you had Senna and Prost, Piquet, all them going on. You had Nigel Mansell. We've had great racing drivers at the time, but you can't compare them to each other. It's like saying, Hamilton's had over 100 wins. Well, in his career, he's raced more times than your Stewarts, your Sennas and all that, and your Michael Schumachers, because they're having 20 races a season now. Back in the day, back in the early days, there was about 10. Then it went up to about 15. 12, 15 at races a season. So you're going to get more poles. You're going to get more wins. You can't not do. There's just more races. It's going to happen. You're in the best car and you're a good driver, you're going to win more. It's obvious. But it doesn't mean that if he was racing against, an on-form Senna, Mansell, Schumacher, Vettel even, that it would be easy for him. It wouldn't be. If they're all in the same car and they're all racing the same as they're racing now, it'd be a completely different story. But anyway. There's some right weird stuff going on in the background that you guys can't see. What we're doing, yep. So we've done 50 odd minutes, which I think is long enough. So thank you very much, Lewis Seddon, Matt Hancock, Dante Charles, aka Jack Dean, Angela O'Kane, Kieran Maguire, it's Andy Me, Billy Shears, Annie, and Toffs TV. It's been fun. One last question to Dante if he's there. What are you planning on drinking in the next hour or so? Don't say human sacrificial blood, because that'd just be weird. So yeah, thanks a lot for joining in. This is, apart from the start, which was bloody appalling, I'll be honest with you. That was very amateurish. It took me 4 goes to get it going. Once I got it going, I didn't know I got it going. So it was just like that. But anyway, it's sorted itself out now. So, London Dry Gin. can't argue with that. So yeah, thanks for watching. Look after yourselves. Stay safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, unless because you want to, obviously. In which case, fill your boots. As long as it's legal, that's fine. So I don't want people saying, "Oh, he said I could do whatever I wanted, so I went round and shot 16 people in the head with my air rifle." No, I didn't say do that. I definitely do not do that. That's naughty. So anyway, look after yourselves, and all being well, I will see you again soon. Yeah, I think we're done. So I'll be seeing you. Until next time. Bye!